British politician Peter Mandelson is to step down from the House of Lords amid allegations the former Labour minister and ambassador passed market-sensitive information to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. UK police confirmed they are assessing allegations of misconduct in office. Meanwhile, in the United States, Bill and Hillary Clinton say they will testify in a congressional hearing into Epstein after initially refusing due to claims the investigation was politically partisan.
7 years after his death, and the life and crimes of Jeffrey Epstein continue to reverberate as those he knew face questions about both their probity and their judgment. Further mention of former Northern Ireland Secretary Peter Mandelson in the latest tranche of Epstein papers saw him today bow to the inevitable.
The Clerk of the Parliament has today received notification from Lord Mandelson of his intention to retire from the House, effective from 4th February.
UK police are reviewing reports of alleged misconduct in a public office after files appeared to show Mr Mandelson passed sensitive information to Epstein while a cabinet minister under Gordon Brown. Mr Brown confirming earlier he has now contacted the Metropolitan Police with information relevant to the investigation.
What a beautiful accent.
Mr Mandelson was fired last year as US ambassador because of his links to Epstein. The man who appointed him to that role before taking it from him today described the latest allegations as disgraceful. Keir Starmer adding that he was not reassured that the totality of the information had yet emerged. Mr Mandelson, though, is not alone. All of those associated with Jeffrey Epstein under ongoing scrutiny as the US Justice Department continues to release material about him, including video footage.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
In the United States, former US President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary, a former presidential candidate, reversed an earlier decision not to testify in person in a congressional investigation into Epstein, saying they will now give evidence, reducing the prospect of a vote of contempt that could have led to criminal charges. One of Mr Clinton's closest associates in his work in Northern Ireland, former US Senator George Mitchell, also mentioned in the latest Epstein files, a bust of whom had stood outside Queen's University in Belfast until its removal last night, in a sign of the growing discomfort surrounding those who once moved in Jeffrey Epstein's orbit. Fiona Mitchell, RTE News.
Well, let's get more on all of this now from our Washington correspondent, Sean Whelan. Sean, these files clearly have the power to damage prominent people. Can we assume that there will be more casualties?
I think we can. First of all, this 3 million documents that have been released by the government are not all the documents. They told us there were 6 million documents, but they only thought 3 million were relevant to the public, that there was lots of repetition. I mean, there's a lot of repetition in there now, but apparently there's a lot of other repeating documents. But they've also withheld 200,000 documents, which they say are under various privileges, such as client-attorney privilege. So there are certain dead ends in those Epstein files that we're not able to go any further without those additional documents, which the Department of Justice has, but they won't release. So there may well be other names in there, or more likely a lot more detail about the names that have been out there, because we know that Bill Clinton was mentioned in those files. That's been known for a long time. That's why that oversight committee have been chasing after him and Hillary Clinton for many months now to appear before their committee. Democrats are saying it's just an attempt to deflect attention away from President Trump and his numerous mentions in those files. The Clintons, after putting up all kinds of obstacles and hurdles, have now agreed that they will testify. Some of them Democrats now starting to say, well, this sets a precedent that if somebody who has held the office of president is going to testify for a committee, then that maybe opens the way for a sitting president to testify as well. But plenty of other names in there to come out. Also, a lot more to come out, I suspect, about Peter Mandelson, that insider trading allegation against him, giving information about, for example, a €500 billion bailout that was agreed by European union leaders in 2010, May 2010. You might remember the time. Irish banks very rocky at that stage. Greece already just into a bailout the day before. Mandelson gave information, the first heads up about it, to his friend, the Wall Street trader and investor, Jeffrey Epstein. So that is a huge scandal in Britain and is going to lead, I think, to all kinds of investigations.
All right, Washington correspondent Sean Whelan, thank you for that. Now, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, former Prince Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson. The famous names in the files relating to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are stirring interest and unease on both sides of the Atlantic. Well, here to discuss the impact it's having is Mary Jordan, Associate Editor with The Washington Post. Mary, thanks so much for joining us this evening. The names that have come out of this last dump of Epstein files, they're really wide-ranging, aren't they?
There's from a celebrity doctor, a medical doctor, to former president of Harvard, Bill Gates, again, one of the richest people in the world, and of course, the current president of the United States and former president, Trump and Clinton, not to mention all of the British people. There's quite a lot for coming up again and again. The Prince Andrew, Sarah Ferguson, Mandelson. It's actually kind of blowing people's mind that this Epstein has been dead for so many years, and the wrecking ball he's destroying and bringing down so many powerful people so long after he's gone because he kept photos and videos and documents.
On this side of the Atlantic, you just mentioned some of the prominent figures there, Prince Andrew, his ex-wife, Peter Mandelson. They're mentioned multiple times, and the latter there, Peter Mandelson, is resigning now from the House of Lords, so that essentially ends his political career. But it does seem that Jeffrey Epstein, when you read these emails, some of them were gushing towards him. He had some kind of a hold over these people. Was it his wealth?
By all accounts, he was not only smart, but charming. And he had these exquisite parties, and he had a private plane, and he had an island. But there was some kind of mythical now lure about him. He put together people from all over the world. It wasn't, it was people in Slovakia, Norway, and Israel. Up on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, people wanted to be with him. He had some kind of inexplicable charisma and draw. And people who were drawn in one by one are losing their titles, they're losing their jobs, they're losing a huge amount of money. I think this last dump really surprised people because some of the things that had been kind of going away because of other news, back with more details, more embarrassment. It's just a scandal that never stops.
Yeah, you said it there. These files certainly seem to have the power to destroy careers and indeed legacy. We saw Senator George Mitchell's name being taken away from Queen's University in Belfast. But over in the US, we now see Bill and Hillary Clinton, who had originally said they wouldn't testify at the congressional investigation. They've changed their minds. What's behind that?
Politics. Donald Trump and his Justice Department and he controls Congress, cannot stand the Clintons. Of course, Trump and Hillary ran against each other in 2016. To this day, Donald Trump says that Hillary Clinton should be locked up. So everybody sees this as kind of a play because of all the people, there are many, many powerful, famous people. The only one that Congress is going after to try to get them to, in a highly embarrassing congressional hearing are the Clintons. And so this is just seen here as a back and forth. It should be said that some of the allegations are that some of these powerful people did do something, high misconduct with underage girls. Others are just getting stained because they were connected to him and they wrote nice notes to him. So everybody is getting stained, but for different reasons.
All right, Mary Jordan of The Washington Post, thank you for speaking to us on 6-1 this evening.
Good to talk to you.